Good morning. So, myself, BS Shayeez Ahamed, Assistant Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering, A and ML. So, last time when I came here, I have given an introduction to the topic about data types. So, today I am going to discuss about conditional statements in Python programming. So, conditional statements. So, normally when you execute a program, the program flow will be in a straight process. So, whenever you are using conditional statements to terminate the flow of the process, we are going to use the statements called as conditional statements. In Python programming, if you take conditional statements, we have four types. We have four types, and that first one is, it is called as simple if. Second one is called as if else. And then third one is called as ladder if. And then fourth one is called as nested if else. So these are the four conditional statements which are present in Python programming. So first one is simple if, second one is called as if else, third one is called as ladder if, fourth one is called as nested if else. So coming to the first one, simple if. So the simple if will be having only one block, that is called as true block. If you take the syntax of simple if, so simple if will start with the keyword called as if followed by expression. And then the colon which terminates the statement, and then once after the colon there will be a indentation space, and then the next statement will start with the indentation, and then here we will write statements. Assume it as statement 1. Okay, so here if is called as keyword, expression can be a logical expression or relational expression, and then after that we have a colon which will terminate this condition, which will terminate this statement. So once after pressing enter from your keyboard, the Python interpreter automatically it will generate a indentation space, and then after that we will start the statements which are going to come under this if condition. Okay, so here we are going to take either relational expressions or logical expressions. So if you take logical expressions, it may be like a greater than b, a greater than b, and a greater than c, like that. Or if you take relational expression, we will take n greater than 0, like the different type of expressions we can take. And this block is called as true block. Okay, so whenever the condition which we have given, if that condition is true, assume the condition is true, then the interpreter will generate indentation space, and the statements which are present beneath this if block will be executed. For example, the condition which you have given, and based on the input which is provided by you, if the condition becomes false, then what will happen? So it will not enter into this if block. It will come directly out of the if block, and the statements which are present beneath to this if, those statements will be executed. So this is called as simple if. It will be having only one block, that is called as true block. Okay. So coming to the second one is called as if else. So second one is called as if else. So coming to the if else, so the syntax of if else will be like this: if, and then expression followed by colon, and then indentation space, and then statement 1, and then else. Okay, and then followed by indentation space, and then statement 2. Okay, so this is the syntax of if else. Okay, if you see the syntax of simple if, we had only one block called as true block. If we go to the syntax of if else, we are having two blocks. So this block is called as true block, and then this block is called as false block. So in simple if the condition is true or false, depending on that, the block will execute or it will not execute. Whereas if you come to if else, depending on the input provided by the user, any one block will be executed. So for example, here the expression, again the expression can be any relation expression or logical expression. Assume the expression, for example, it will be, for example, I am going to check a input for a user whether he is eligible for voting or not. So I will take the expression as n greater than or equals to 18. So n is my input. So for example, I have given n as 20. I have given n as 20. So when you are giving n as 20, so if 20 greater than or equals to 18, that is a relation expression. Whenever this condition is true, then this will enter into the body of the if, and the statements which are present inside the if, those statements will be executed. So assume if you have given the input as 10. Okay, so assume you have given the input as 10. So when 10 is greater than or equals to 18, so this condition is false. So automatically this condition will become false, and the interpreter will not go inside the if, it will come directly to the else part, and in else part the statements whichever are present, those statements will be executed. So that's why this is called as true block, this is called as false block. So if the condition is true, body of if will be executed. If the condition is false, then body of else will be executed. So we have many examples for if else. We can take for checking positive or negative, to check whether a year is leap year or not, and as usual we can check for biggest of two numbers. So like this we can do multiple example programs for if else. So coming to the third one, that is called as ladder if. So in if else we had only two blocks, either true block or false block. So coming to the ladder if syntax will be like this. So if condition, so for example, if we will be having condition that is called as expression, then followed by indentation, then statement 1. Okay, so normally in if else, after if we will be having else, but in ladder if we will be having after if one more statement, one more keyword called as elif. Okay, elif followed by expression, then statement 2, and then followed by elif expression 1, 2, 3, followed by statement 3, and then else. At last it will be having else, that is statement n. Okay, so this is called as ladder if. If you can see, in if else we had only either if or else. If you take in ladder if, it is like a form of in the structure ladder. So where one if will be there, after that we will be having many elifs. You can have only one elif or you can have multiple elifs. So then at the last it will be having else. So coming to the syntax, so again if is a keyword, expression will be a relational logical expression followed by indentation. So this indentation is very important so that we can terminate the statement. So the indentation is normally a tab space. Whenever you press enter, a tab space will be generated, and the next statement, whatever the input, that will be started from here only. For example, if your tab space, instead of tab space, you can also give 4 space bars. So coming to the ladder if, you can see. So for many examples are there for ladder if also. So if you take, I have given one condition. If this condition is true, what will happen? This block will be executed. It means it will come under this if, and the statements when which are present, those will be executed. So assume this condition is false. So now this condition has become false. So the statements present inside the body of if, those statements will not be executed. So it will be terminated. Then it will come to elif. In elif we are having one more expression called as 2. So now the interpreter will check this condition. If this condition is true, then automatically the statements which are present beneath to the elif, first elif, those statements will be executed. For example, if this expression is also false, then it will go to the next elif where we have one more condition, and this condition will be checked. For example, this condition is true, then the statements which are present in body of the second elif, those statements will be executed. So in this case, so first this if was false, then first elif was false, then in third case also elif was false. So if is false, elif is false, elif is false, then automatically what will happen? At the last we have else. So whatever the statements are present beneath this else, those statements will be executed. So it is like a form of structure in the ladder. So that's why what are the statements are present beneath to the if. If condition is true, then these are all not useful. If this is false, then we'll go here. If it is true, this will be executed. Again, if it is false, we'll go here, we will check this. If it is true, this will be executed. For example, all these are false. So defaultly, whatever is present in the else, that will be executed. This is the simple example of ladder if. Now coming to the fourth one, that is called as nested if else. So nested is nothing but it is a concept called as nesting, where a similar entity is placed in the same entity. For example, if you take if else, so if else condition will be like this. So I will use that type of board. So if you take this is if else, normally we will write if and then we will write else. So if will be having one condition. Okay, so that is called as expression. So for example, this is expression 1. So what I have said, nested means nested is a similar type of entity which is present in the same entity. So it means in if we will be having one more if else, expression 2 followed by statement 1, then else followed by statement 2. Okay, so you can see we have if else inside a if. Similarly, we also have if else again inside else. So if again we will give expression 3 followed by statement 3 and then else followed by statement 4. This is the concept of nested if else. You can see in nested, the same entity if else is kept under else and again if else is kept under if. So how the process of if else nested if else will be working means, so again the syntax will be same. So the expressions will be there, statements will be there, and then indentation will be there. Again the expression can be any relational expression or logical expression. So when you come to first statement called as if expression 1, so when you have passed the condition here, assume that condition is true. Okay, so whenever that condition is true, so it will enter into this if. Again here we will check one more condition, and again if this condition is true, then the statements 1 will be executed. Okay, so whenever it is true, it will enter here, and again it will check one more condition. Again if it is true, it will enter here, and then statements 1 will be executed. So assume this is true and this is false. So this is true and this is false. So it will not go directly here. It will come and it will go to else part, and whatever the statements are there in else part, those statements will be executed. Okay. So assume now this condition itself false. Okay. So if this condition itself is false, then it will not go inside this if directly. It will come to else part. Okay. So whenever this whole condition is false, it will not go into the body of this if. It will come directly to the else part, and then it will come to this if, and it will check the condition of expression 3. Assume this condition is true, then it will enter into this body of if, and then this statement 3 will be executed. For example, if it is false, this is true, and again when it is entering here, if this condition is false, it will not go to this S3, statements 3. So what will happen? Defaultly it will come to the else, and whatever the statements are present in else, those statements will be executed. This is how nested if else will work. So normally if else means we will be having if as well as else. If we take nested is a similar entity which is kept inside the same entity. So if else will come under if, and again if else will come under else. So this is about conditional statements in Python programming. Thank you.